Thank you, Chairman. Good to be with you. Thank you, Ranking Member Capito, for letting me jump in here. To the last comment by Senator Kramer, I think that carbon capture has a very important role in our climate solutions, and Ranking Member Capito and I have worked very well together on carbon capture solutions, and we are working right now in my office on an expansion of the direct air capture credit to help expand innovation into that space so that it doesn't have to be so geographically limited. So there's probably not a lot in energy policy where Senator Kramer and I agree, but here we have overlap, so that's great. I do want to say with Ms. Snyder here how very disappointed I have been in the way that the natural gas industry conducted itself recently with regard to methane leakage. We were working, I thought, extremely well with the industry in the previous administration. I thought the industry saw the cliff that coal went off of and that oil was headed for, and knew it had a longer runway and wanted to prepare for the transition in a responsible way, and understood that its methane leakage was the biggest part of the problem. And we had an agreement about measuring that leakage and all of that, and then came the Trump administration, and all of that just got undone. And we're now trying to rebuild, but I think a lot of things got burned in those years, and one of them, I just have to say, was a lot of trust with the industry, and I hope we have the chance to rebuild that. Mr. Folks made the interesting point that nuclear, I think his phrase was, nuclear's carbon-free attributes are not always recognized. And that is a problem I've been trying to work with for some time. I couldn't agree more. We've been trying to figure out a way to perhaps get existing safely operating nuclear plants into a 45Q type compensation for the carbon-free nature of their power, so they don't artificially compete unsuccessfully against new natural gas facilities. And I'd love to have your thoughts on that. And if you want to give me those thoughts at some greater length with some reflection, I'd be happy to take that as a written question for the record that you can respond to. And I'd also like you to think a little bit about what we can do to speed up major transmission lines to the areas in our country where there's abundant solar and wind. Short story, I drove through the Wind River Reservation in Wyoming, which is 3 times the size of my home state, and went through miles of what seemed just completely vacant space that the wind was screaming across and the sun was beating down on. And the 2 tribes who share that reservation are losing the snowpack that provides the summer water for them. It's basically their summer water storage. So they're looking at real trouble because of climate change, and it would be great to be able to have industries like that take up in that great big reservation, and yet it can't happen because there's no transmission lines. So a solution to that and Build Back Better would be something I would welcome, and I'd love to have your brief comments on those.
Yeah, I mean, on the nuclear side, I mean, I think as we look to extend things like PTC, ITC, we ought to consider a PTC for the existing nuclear too, to put it on level playing ground. And I think nuclear could compete with an even playing field. On the issue of transmission, let me just give you an example. We knew that we needed to have more transmission as we started our clean energy journey at the beginning of the 2000s. We just completed that transmission a few years ago. So it took 15 years to get it built. And that's interregionally. I think what you're talking about is even a more expanded highway. So, permitting, cost allocation, those are the things that really bog it down. And I think we've had some comments before on, having to streamline things like NEPA, et cetera, to make that more efficient. It's absolutely going to be necessary.
Well, I'll try to work on that and Build Back Better, because we're going to be doing a lot of building as a result of that bill. Mr. Chairman, I think I've probably gone over my time. I can't see my clock, but I thank you for your
indulgence. You got another 24 seconds to use it. Go ahead, Sheldon.
Use it wisely. I'll just say another kind word about direct air capture, which I think is a great opportunity for us.